Okay. So again, welcome you guys. We're really excited that we're going to have our first event in 2 weeks. Like I said, my name is Vicki Cody. On the call tonight, we have Jeannie Badger and Cheryl Muller, and we have one of our members of our board of directors, Alan Yosha. He's going to say a few words in a minute here. In fact, I am going to turn it over to him. He's going to talk first, and then I'm going to talk. So Alan is a former coach, an avid volunteer, and also he is on our board of directors. And so we wanted to shake it up a little bit and give our board a little time to chat with you guys. So Alan's got 2 slides. So go, Alan.
I should have probably worn my board shirt instead of my judging shirt. So are you advancing the slide to? Oh, okay, great. So first of all, thank you for being here tonight, for participating the way you do, and really just as we typically do when we have folks that are participating and part of the program and part of the experience, we want to make sure that we call out all the sponsors that are really a big part of what makes this possible. Boston Scientific, 3M, Ecolab, Donaldson, Paul Bryant, some of the Bunyan, some of the Tenet, and some of the other corporate partners that we have. It's important to also recognize that just in general, when we think about these corporate partners and who it is that sponsors High Tech Kids, what makes this all happen, right? Because we serve, if you just go to the next slide real quick, we serve a lot of students, right? Over 5,170 students are going to be served this year. We have 1,865 volunteers that will be like myself, like others that are a part and parcel of how we get all of these things done. And when we think about how that all comes to be, when we think about how all of that happens, right? How we serve all of these students, how we work with all of these organizations, how we run all of these events. For years, just High Tech Kids has had more teams per capita in Minnesota than anywhere else in the world. I mean, it doesn't work out that way every year, but we're up there in the top 1, 2, 3 regions that have that, and that's meaningful, right? How do we keep that going? You're already volunteering, you're already coaches. I've been a coach, Vicki's been a coach. There've been a lot of coaches, and it's a tremendous amount of work. It's true love to see these kids do what they do, and the impact on our ability to do that from team event fees and things like that is less than a third of what we bring in, right? So when we think about what it takes to run all of these things, we rely on that first slide of funders and companies and organizations. And every team that's made up of, a half a dozen kids, whatever it may be, 8 or 10 kids, there are parents, coaches, obviously yourselves, that are involved in these companies and organizations that maybe already participate, but maybe many don't, and they don't even know that they can. So from a philanthropic perspective, there are organizations that are looking to participate in ways that impact our communities, that impact STEM-based programs, whether that's around women in STEM, girls in STEM, different cultures and different areas, whether it's privileged or underprivileged, whatever that might be, whatever the initiatives may be of that organization, even just to say within your community or with one of the kids' communities that are not directly tied to where a bulk of that work happens, it's great to lean in and say, we'd love to do something in our community and facilitate some support for what goes on in STEM and STEM education and how High Tech Kids impacts that, right? So that 72% of funders that are on that screen, that's a combination of corporate donors, but that's also individual donors. And so when we think about that, when you're talking to your teams, when you're speaking to your parents, when you're thinking about some philanthropic efforts, even in getting the kids involved. When I was a coach, one of the things we did was we had I found one of the parents was willing to match dollar for dollar up to $3,000, whatever the kids could raise. And we had the kids go out and raise funds, and we were able to donate $6,000 to High Tech Kids. And the kids had a big check, and they walked in and gave it to Cheryl. And it was just a great moment to help show how the kids as a team can also participate in philanthropic efforts that support nonprofits like High Tech Kids, that in turn are feeding back to them events and all of these other things. So the organization has had tremendous growth. Obviously, COVID had an impact on that, but we've come back. We've been growing each year, year over year. We're doing better this year than we did the year before, and we'll certainly do better next year than we're doing this year, but with your help, right? With my help, with Vicky's help, and with your help. And so as you're in speaking to your team, when you're speaking to your team's parents, when you're engaged, think about all the different ways. And if you can't think about all the different ways, ask. More than willing to have a conversation about how coaches make the best judges, and from a board perspective, how we lean in and we look for volunteers in that area as well, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in fundraising, whether you're in engineering and things like that, philanthropy, whatever it may be. The board could use some support also. So if you're already engaged as a coach, you kind of get it. You're already there. You're halfway, if not 3/4 of the way there. Taking that extra step, if you're willing and open, reach out. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation about what that means. Or if there's a parent on your team that's asking you, hey, how can I be involved? I don't want to be a coach. Reach out. More than happy to have that conversation and engage with them and figure out what that looks like. Plenty of ways to get involved. And having that input from everybody is meaningful, not just in the dollars, but in the volunteer time as well. So thanks again for coaching. Really, it's a tremendous amount of fun. I loved it. I still love it. I still love the judging and being a part of the experience in the day, watching these kids really thrive. So thank you again. Look forward to seeing you out there in the field.
All right. Well, thanks, Alan. I appreciate that. So we are going to move on, and you will probably see Alan at events. I'm not sure if he's going to be at the Prior Lake event, but he is at a lot of events. All right. So you are all going to Prior Lake on the 18th. I hope you're in the right place. So if you've been to this event before, we are going to enter through. So Prior Lake is sort of built on a hill. The upper parking lot, it's theater door. It's, I think on the top it says community theater or something like that, 1N. We're doing that because at this event, there's a lot going on Saturday. There is going to be FLL, you guys, FLL Challenge. There's going to be FLL Explore. So there's going to be little kids. There's going to be First Tech Challenge. So if you have an older team and you're thinking about, transitioning into FTC, this is a great venue to be at because you can just walk down the hall when you're done with your wave. Either, if you're in wave 2, come early and check out FTC in the morning, or flip flop if you're in wave 1, stay and check them out in the afternoon. And if you are going to do that and you want a little mini tour, you can find one of us in purple and we will show you where to go. We'll kind of explain what's happening if you want to check that out. But also, they will be having an FRC competition. So there's going to be every level of First Robotics there, which is why we're having people go in different doors. So it's going to be a busy, busy day. There will be concessions available. If you are planning on, I know you guys don't stay the whole day and order lunch, but if you are planning, if you wanted to order pizza or something, they have a form that needs to be filled out. They don't tend to order a lot of extras. So if you are planning on staying for lunch, please go to the event page. There's a link to buy pizza. We will also be selling merchandise at the base of the stairs. You'll see it. It's right near not too far from the where the performance tables are. So this is our t-shirt that we're going to have this year. It was designed by a First Lego League alum, and we're pretty proud of her, and we really like the t-shirt. It was a minifig kind of year, so I thought it was appropriate that we had minifigs everywhere. This is also a design of our lapel pin that we designed this year. So be on the lookout for that. That one's pretty fun too. Again, we'll have other things for sale like erasers and color changing pencils. All right. So I know I beat you over the head about required forms every time we have a meeting. And this is, and I'm going to beat you over the head again. So we need your demographic survey. And that can be found on this required forms page. And you will need either a printed roster or a paper forms for your consent and release. So I'm going to show you really quick. So we did a new thing with our event roster that's up on our tournament schedule page, and I'm going to bring over my website here. So if you go to First Lego League and just scroll down to tournament schedule, you don't even have to go to your tournament. It's this roster right here. So if you pull that up, see on the top here, it says email Jeannie from High Tech Kids if you have name changes or if you have questions, any other changes. So if you look here, this last column are demographics, and we do have some demographics you can see, but it's not clearly not everyone's. And then if you look here under team name, this is the team name we have. So if you are not the fixer-uppers and you're not from North Home, email Jeannie and say, hey, we're team, in this case, 2819, and this is our name and this is where we're from, because this is what is going to go on your pit sign. This is what's going to go up on the scoreboard. And this is what's going to be in the list that the judges have. So please make sure, you're not team 1 or team, unless that's actually your name. But if you, this one says team 5, so I bet you that's not their real name. So let's make sure we get that correct, because I'm sure your kids have designed a team name or come up with a team name, and I'm sure they want to be called that. So we can make changes at the event, but if you make them beforehand, it's just that much easier. All right. So things to bring. Bring your loose pieces we're going to have Lego tables in the pits for you to practice in. Just like in past years, we're not going to have, it's only going to be the pieces that are dual locked down. So you'll need to bring your audience members, the little orange guys, your experts that are on their loops, and the pedestal. And don't forget to bring your art piece, whatever. If you've made an art piece, bring your art piece. Just as a note, in the pits, the tables that we set up are not going to have, every model has a minifig, and I'm sure that, you have, you've come to dislike minifigs, maybe. We're taking all those minifigs off the models because we know they're going to walk away. We know they're going to break off. And we've tested them and they don't affect how the model operates. So we're just going to take all those little loose pieces off, the ballerina, the magic guy, the purple guy, all of those guys are all going to come off. But we will have the basic mission models there. And then of course, where your official robot runs will be, we will obviously have all those pieces there and all the minifigs and everything. So the other thing to bring is your roster and consent forms, just like I talked about before. And then it seems obvious, but please don't forget your robot. We've had events where people have forgotten their robot, and any attachments, your computer in case you need to make changes, and all of your information for all of your judging. You should also bring, actually, I should step back. I would suggest bringing a power strip. You will have access to power, but it'll only be one plug-in. So if you need to plug multiple things in, I would suggest bringing a power strip as well. All right, so when you check in, so you're going to come in the upper level. I'm going to be sitting up in that upper level, and you'll be checking in with me. And so wave 1, the doors will open at 8, and wave 2 at 12:15. So you're going to give me your consent forms. I'm going to give you an envelope that has a medal for each one of your children and 2 pins for your coaches. This is a change from last year. The last couple of years, I know we've been giving pins for each child, and we just can't do that this year. We just can't. So we are giving 2 pins for the coaches, and we are selling those pins if the kids would like them. But you'll be getting the medals, and you can give the kids the medals right away, You can give the kids the medals at the end of your wave. You can give the kids the medals at night when you're watching the awards ceremony together. However you want to do it is up to you. All right, here's the general event schedule. So like I said, wave 1, it goes from 8 until about noon, 12:05. Wave 2 will be 12:15 to about 4:20, give or take. Each wave's about 4 hours. So what we're asking you is, if you are in wave 1, when you're all done, please try to move out of the pits as fast as possible, because as you can see, we only have like 5 or 10 minutes to flip everything, put out the new stuff, clean off the tables so that we can get wave 2 in. You are welcome to stay and watch teams, but you just can't leave your stuff in the pits. And that's the same thing. If you're in wave 2 and you want to come early and watch, you're welcome to do that. You just can't move into the pits. But you can come in and watch, and that's great. All right. We've gotten some questions about what is a pit area. It is going to be, you're going to have a table, you're going to have some chairs. In Prior Lake, it's actually lunch tables, so it's tables with the little stools. Each table is assigned. There'll be a little sign on there, and it'll say your name, team 1, 2, 3, 4, the fuzzy bunnies. Please don't move the pit signs and the pit tables around. If judges or something need to find you, if we need to find you, there's actually a method to our madness, and we know what order you sit in, so we can find you a little bit more easily. And in that area, like I said before, you can have a practice table so that you can test out your robot and stuff. We do want to remind you, please limit your time on the table to 5 minutes, especially if there's another team waiting. And we ask that you do not bring your wooden Lego table to put on the floor, and you do not bring all copies of bring your mat and mission models and put those on the floor either. It's just a tripping hazard and a fire hazard, actually. So we would appreciate that. All right, when you're at the competition, if you have robot game questions, we will have a head referee right there, and I forget who it is, if it's a he or a she, but he or she will be there to answer your questions. We will also have a head judge roaming around back in the judging area. And when in doubt, find one of us in a purple shirt. Jeannie and I will be here. Actually, our whole staff will be at Prior Lake because there's so much going on. So there will be plenty of purple shirts in case you have an issue. This event has 2 groups of 13 teams. So we're going to do lakes and woods. Your teams are only competing against those in their group. And a reminder to check in to either judging check-in or robot check-in 5 minutes before whatever it is you're doing. So about 5 minutes before judging, please check in, and to the judging check-in, and before your robot matches, check in 5 minutes prior to your robot performance. And remember, we've said this in all of our training, if something happens to your robot, you lost all the programs on your robot, you dropped your robot or something, come and find one of us, or come and find the head referee. If at all possible, we will try to reschedule you around, try to help you find your programs, download your programs, whatever that glitch is. We will try to make it happen for your team if we can. So don't just not show up. We will always try to make it so that your team can compete. All right, for judging, we've had some questions about this. I recently put a judging process document. This is just a little excerpt from it, but the judging process document on the High Tech Kids website under, in the FLL section under 2023 masterpiece. But in general, spectators are welcome. Please remind everybody to silence their phones, pagers, whatever they have. The team, when you go in, the team will have a minute to set up. and then they will have 5 uninterrupted minutes to do their presentation. They don't have to use that whole 5 minutes, but they have 5 minutes to use. When you go in for robot design, make sure you bring your robot and your attachments, some way to show your programs, whether that's on a computer or maybe you have something printed out, maybe you have it on a poster board, whatever. And for your innovation project, the same thing, you know, any presentation materials you have, if you did a prototype or a drawing or something of your solution, all of that should be brought with you. When you are in judging, the teams will be given a table. I can't guarantee that you're going to be close to an outlet if you have something to plug in, but you will be given a table just to put your stuff if you need it. If you don't need it, you can move it aside. So for robot performance, so in Prior Lake, we will have stanchions all the way around. It's kind of a big open area, stanchions all the way around the robot performance tables. So only the team members are allowed beyond those stanchions. Or just a reminder that robots are not driven with a device like an iPad or a Chromebook. They're all autonomous. So if you're practicing that way, that's fine. But make sure that those programs are downloaded onto the hub or the brick, or you know, the Spike Prime or EV3, whatever robot you're using. All the mission models for your robot performance are provided by us. So please don't bring even though you're bringing them for the practice tables in the pits, don't bring your pedestal, don't bring your experts, and don't bring your audience members. Do bring your built art piece though, because that's about, other than your robot, make sure you bring your art piece. All the scoring is done at the end. The referees score with the tablet and they're going to go around. They're going to go with the kids, and when the kids say okay, they hit okay. Please remind your kids if they think that the referee is interpreting a rule differently than what they expect. Have them say, you know, politely, can I please talk to the head referee? And you can have a conversation about that. If the score hits the scoreboard and you think you were going to get a 300 and the score on the scoreboard is like 150 instead of 300, I would immediately go to the head referee and say, I think there was a mistake. And then they can go and talk to the referee at your table, because people do make mistakes. It is a tablet. Stuff happens when people scroll. So
And
honest
Vicki,
mistakes happen. Yes.
as a reminder, that is the kids going to the head ref or to the scorekeeper, not the coach.
That's right. That's right. As Jeannie always says in her training, she doesn't care what the coach is yelling, you know, beyond the stanchions. It's the kids need to approach the head ref and ask for that. Also a reminder that your very first round is a practice round. And so it's not, it doesn't count. It's just to help the kids get their jitters out, calibrate stuff, get the lay of the land. But then your next 3 will be your scored rounds. And we take the highest of these, not an average. So no worries. You can tell the kids if they get a 50 in the first round and they're sad about that, say, nope, you've got 2 more tries. And so we just take their highest of the 3 rounds. I know it's in 2 weeks, but hopefully you've gone out to our website under that FLL masterpiece and seen we've posted the app that we use, and you can use that app. Jeannie, does it add for you, or does it just, I'm not sure if it adds.
They will see a point total. And when they're with the referees, they won't actually see a point total, but we'll change a little bit. But it does not save the score.
Okay. All right. So they can get used to using that app, and so that they're used to what the referees are doing. Also on that same page is where the robot game updates are. We haven't had one in a while, but you know, people are starting to have their events now. So there might be one or two, but we haven't heard anything, so maybe not. But we abide by all the updates posted by 4 o'clock on Friday. So I don't know that they ever post anything on Fridays, but that's kind of the time that we look. All right, I'm almost done, I swear. So advancement and awards. So this is just a friendly reminder. Advancement is based on how a team does as a whole. And all of these things are worth 1/4. So core values, your robot design, your project, and then your highest score on the robot game table. We take each one of those. They're each worth 25%. So you could get a really super high robot score, and maybe not advance because maybe your innovation project wasn't great, or maybe the kids just for whatever reason didn't do well in judging. Maybe they had a fist fight. That's bad. But you just never know what happens. So just so that it's 1/4 of all of these things. So the award ceremony will be at 6 o'clock on our Twitch channel, and the rubrics will be emailed to the coach. Jeannie will get those out no later than Tuesday, but hopefully sooner. Just sort of depends, especially with the first event. Sometimes we have some bugs to work out. And then the awards will be sent out via US mail. And that's another reason to fill out your demographic survey, because at the bottom of your demographic survey, it asks, where do you want your award mailed? And that's where we're going to mail it, wherever you said on your demographic survey. If those usually go out in the mail no later than Tuesday, and they take about a day or two. So hopefully before the end of the week, maybe by Thursday, Friday, you'll get your trophies. All right. Were there any questions? That was everything that I had for just the logistics of what's going to happen. I have the game board up in case people have game questions, or if you had questions about what's going to happen during the day. Anyone? Kate?
I have a question about the
Yeah.
judging sessions.
Yeah.
I recall you said there's 5 minutes for the
Mhm.
teams to present their information.
Mhm.
And then what's the amount of time that is spent with questions from the judges?
So I'm going to show you something here. So if we go, it's about, technically it's 9 minutes. If you
Okay.
use your whole 1 minute of
Setup.
setup. Recently, so I did this first, had a judging process for their 30-minute judging. I put this together. Well, okay, super honest. I stole it from another partner. They did a good job, and then we Minnesotaized it. So if you look at this for innovation projects, so the team gets a minute to set up. They may not take that whole minute, right? They have 5 minutes for the project and 9 minutes. So it's a 15-minute session. So any time that they don't use, they'll just keep asking probably more questions. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And just something to reiterate about judging. Hold on, I'm going to bring this back up here. We don't have access to any of the technology in the room. Just please remember that we're guests in the space. So even if there is a projector there or a whiteboard or something, we're trying really hard to disturb as little as possible in these classrooms, because we want to be able to come back next year. So
we got a question in the chat, Vicki.
Oh, okay.
They're asking, in the past, the innovative project model matched the project. Oh, Jeannie got it.
Oh,
and the answer is can be anything. And the art piece is just something that they make.
The art piece. Yeah. So the art piece, actually, if you look at the directions, the art piece itself, sadly, I don't have any Legos in my desk. Hold on. I have this little purple minifig that Ginny gave me. your art piece doesn't have a definition. This little, probably can't see it, it's a little tiny eyeball. Your art piece can be one brick. But what you do have to do is when you come up to the robot game table, you have to say to the referee, this is my art piece, whatever it is, right? So he or she knows what your art piece is. It doesn't have to resemble whatever project you chose. It can just be a single brick. In the past, they defined it had to be like so many bricks wide and tall and everything. And this year they did not. So. Oh, and Jeannie put when the clarification is in update number 6. So. All right. Any other questions? Oh. All right, Matt says, what happens if the minifig falls off the expert? The minifig falls off. Oh, the minifig falls off the platform. You mean, Jeannie, do you want to take that?
So if the minifig falls off the base, it'll be part of the benefit of the doubt that the rest will be looking at it. If kids are flinging the minifig across the field, that is clearly breaking a minifig to make a mission easier. If they run over it, inadvertently, it falls apart. We know that those minifigs fall off. So there is going to be some benefit of the doubt. If in the home area where they're trying to get things together and going, we don't care if they lose the pen or that computer bag or their spyglass or whatever, that magnifying glass. But the minifig should be attached to the base, and then hopefully the kids can get that out there. Again, it's benefit of the doubt if it's something that happened inadvertently. But again, flinging, they're always going to break if they fling. No matter how much we want to throw stuff, we're not going to be able to do that.
But I think too, even if it comes apart, maybe you gather somebody, bring them back, they've fallen apart by the time you've brought them back, but you have all the pieces. We still want you to try to put, oh, this is the wrong thing, but the minifig on that base somehow. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the minifig and the base should then travel to wherever it's going together as much as possible. Yep. Yeah. So were there other questions from anyone? Game questions, logistics questions? There'll certainly be lots to see and do at this event. All right. Last call, anyone?
I guess regarding the other events, what time do the FTC and FRC events start in the morning?
So everybody starts in and around 8 o'clock. So FTC and FRC both have a hard break for lunch. So FTC is breaking from 11:45 to 12:45, and FRC will break from 12 to 1. So there won't be anything happening like over the lunch hour. Everybody breaks, the teams, the judges, everybody. So there'll be that. And then after that, it's like all afternoon, it's all robots. And in the morning, I'm not sure about FRC, but for FTC in the morning, there is a period of time where they do their judging. But there's still things happening on the field where they're doing inspection and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay,
So one
thanks.
other
Then
thing
if you
to,
come,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you come back, if you're nearby, you can come back Sunday. We're running the second FTC tournament.
That's right. We're there for 2 days.
And if you're like an audience member, for FTC, you can see it from the walkway really well, the game being played. If you go in the pits, a different requirement for the older robotics is that you do have to have safety glasses.
That's
And
right.
we don't have loaners, so you would have to purchase them or bring some. So it's probably best to just watch where the robots are playing as a bystander.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. Okay, so if we don't have any other questions, we're really looking forward to, I think this game is going to be really fun. I think there's going to be a lot of broken minifigs, but that's okay. We're looking forward to seeing how you guys solve the missions, and what kind of projects you guys have come up with. Because I know it was kind of challenging this year, to hone in on a subject for your project. So that should be fun. All right. If there aren't any more questions, I'm gonna give you guys back your dark night. Got really dark out really fast tonight. But we will see you all in like 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks. All right. Thank you guys for coaching. Thanks for hanging out with kids, wrangling children. Should be a fun season.
Right.
Thanks.